This is a walkthrough of another Magnolia maintenance release, 5.4.7 this time. And again, Topher and I will present a few authoring improvements, a few developer improvements, and thank you for the release goes to the development team. We're just privileged here to present it. So we'll start with 4 changes for authors. And the first of them is time zone setting. Now you have the ability to set your time zone in Magnolia as a user preference. All right, here I'm logged in as Eric, the editor, and the new time zone setting is under your user profile preferences here on the top right. On the preferences tab, you can say my preferred time zone is your browser time zone as a default or any of the other on the list. And why this is significant is now Magnolia knows your browser time zone. So you don't have to fall back to the server time. And in reality, the case where you and your Magnolia instance are served in the same time zone is actually quite rare. Probably your Magnolia is hosted in a data center somewhere and you don't even know where. And editors are also in multiple locations. So here Eric sees timestamps in the system, for example, page creation days and times in the page editor in his time zone. If I hover on such a column, you can see that the little pop-up says GMT +2. So that's Eric's preferred time zone. Here in the other browser window, I'm in as Peter. Peter has set his preference as Canada Pacific Standard Time. So when I view the same Pages app, the timestamp is different. Let's make that clear by setting them side by side. 9:22 a.m. for Eric, 12:22 for Peter, and when Peter hovers on such a column, the label says Pacific Standard Time. This is useful for traveling editors. You may want to move to work with another team and either see things as that team sees or as your home team sees. So that's the time zone setting. Next, I will show that the language coverage for German translation in the UI has been expanded. I'm going to log in as Eric DE, which is the German language editor. And we'll look at a couple of apps here. Here in the app launcher, you already see that the app tiles are named in German, and commands and typical actions in the Pages app are in German. We used to have them in German, but now the translation has been expanded so that a German language editor can comfortably get most of their work done. But I want to show you a particular interesting example. Here in the Assets app, you see that Assets is not translated. If I select an asset, all the actions on the right use the English term asset. And that's because translation is not like a machine. Language is organic. Sometimes you borrow words from another language that are more accurate descriptions of it. We could have translated assets to Dateien, which would have been just general files, or to something like Builder, but then what about your videos and PDF files? They are also in there. So borrowing a loan word like this is actually sometimes a valid choice. The next change is there's a set of two new properties that makes all templates available on the site immediately. And these are page templates. And this removes a common hurdle in learning Magnolia templating, where you might have gone through a tutorial, written a few templates, and now you can't see them in Magnolia. They don't show up on your templates dropdown in the Pages app. So now by default, you can set a property called enable all to true, and all your page templates are available. So I'll demonstrate this by going back in as the English language Eric, opening the Pages app. I'll try to add a new page. Let's add it to the travel site, for example. So here are the templates that Eric can see. You'll notice that a news page template is not on the list. It's something that I developed in a light module, and I'm going to drop in a moment to show that as soon as the module is detected by Magnolia, the template becomes available automatically. So let's drag that module in. I'm going to cancel out of this. go to Atom Editor. Here's my light modules directory. And here is my news template. It's a really simple page template that just has a page YAML, an FTL, a few translations, and a dialog for it. I'll drop the light module into the light modules directory. There it is. There it is. And let's try again at that page. There's the news templates now. And the property that makes this possible on this particular site is called sign out as Eric and look at the site app as super user. Here in the web dev group, we have the site app, and you can look at the site prototype and definition. If I look at the travel site, you'll see that there's in template availability, there's a new node called enable all with render type. And here I can list the render types that get enabled automatically. So my template was a free marker template. It got enabled automatically. As opposed to constricting this by render type, I could simply add a property called enable all. Oops, that's alle. And now, regardless of render type, templates would be available immediately, as soon as the system detects them. And finally, the fourth auto improvement is tiny, but perhaps saves time. The JCR browser defaults to the website workspace. It used to default to the config workspace, which was kind of redundant because the config app already shows that workspace. But now you don't have to fiddle with the dropdown because you're likely going to look at the website workspace anyway. So those were the 4 auto improvements. Then I'll hand over to Topher for the developer side.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, we have some very nice developer improvements in 5.4.7, particularly about light development, making things even faster and more powerful with light modules. So probably the most important change is that now not just Maven modules can have a module descriptor, light modules can also have a module descriptor. And what this means is up till now, light modules have basically just been a collection of files. You were organizing them in directories, but the system didn't really see them as modules. But now with the module descriptor, they're actually recognized as modules. So let's take a look at that. Actually, what I'm going to do is restart the system so that you can really see that in action. So let me stop the server. Because for the modules to get picked up, it needs to be on server start. And I have 2 new modules I'm adding. So I already have a cookie component, and I'm going to be decorating the cookie component with a dropdown. Oops. So I'll bring those in to my light modules. And so the difference is that if I look at one of these, I have a module.yaml, and this is the module descriptor for a light module. And if I take a look at that, it's a nice simple YAML file. It doesn't have all the capabilities of a Maven module descriptor. It has basically 2 things, but they're very important. So I can specify the version of the module, and I can specify dependencies. And the cool thing is that YAML modules, light modules can depend on other light modules, or they can depend on Maven modules. It's all the same to Magnolia. So for example, here I have a dependency on my other new light module, the cookie size. I'm depending on version 1. And I also have a dependency here to core, version 5.4.8. If I was to try to restart Magnolia now, I'd actually get an error on start because it can't resolve the dependencies. But I'll get rid of that one because we don't need errors. And let's see how Magnolia reacts. Yeah, so the first thing I want to show you is simply that they're really recognized as Magnolia modules. And the next thing I'll show you is a practical usage of having these dependencies. Okay, we saw it said it needed some updates and it recognized there's new modules. So let's log in. Once the server started. Okay, server started, and that's basically what I wanted to show you, that it's really recognizing these light modules as Magnolia modules. So let's install those. So you've already seen, I mean, one practical application is simply that you really can say which version of another module you need, and the system won't start unless it has it. But the other and practical application is we introduced the decorations feature last release, and if you remember, decorations lets a new module modify another module. But the cool thing about the decorations is that you can apply more than one decoration. You could have layered decorations. So you have one module. The example I have here is that with another module, we add a dropdown to a dialog. And then with yet another module, we add another entry to that dropdown. And the question is, in which order are those decorations applied? And the answer is that based on module dependency, you can define the load order of the decorations. So let's just take a look at that. It's easier to understand if we see it. Okay, so if we add a page, I'll add a basic template. And I've used decoration to make my new component available. It's a cookie component. So there's my new component. And you see that the cookie has a drop-down, cookie size. And let me show you how that's been added. So first we have the cookie component, which brings that in. Then we have a size drop-down, which is brought in by this dialog, using a decoration, and it simply adds the size, small, medium, large, and then I have another module which is bringing in another decoration, which simply adds the extra large size. And based on the dependencies between the modules, I can choose which one gets applied first so that the order of my items is correct. I know it's a kind of a silly example, but we want to make sure the extra large comes after small, medium, large. It would be weird the other way around. And that's one thing we can use the dependencies for. But the main thing is just now that the light modules are real modules. So the next thing I want to mention is that we really want to make it that any change you make on the file system gets picked up automatically. And we've had that for most things, but now we also have it for include files. So here I'm using a YAML include to bring in this tab, which now has delivery options, standard and express. So if I make a change now, that is in my cookie component. I have my dialog include. This isn't an actual registry item, it's just something that's included by the dialog. So now I can add one more item for delivery. You can get delivered by drone. And if I close the dialog and open it again, now my delivery has been updated by the include file. So that means any change I make now on the file system is picked up automatically. This include file monitoring, this was actually introduced a new mechanism in how the configuration is loaded from the file system. Typically, the way the main definitions are loaded is via polling mechanism, but a nice side effect of how the include file is detected is that basically when it tries to deal with the definition, it looks at all the files that it needs to resolve that, and the definition is updated right away. So basically, as soon as you make the change in the file, you're going to see that reflected in your definitions. It's very fast. The other improvement is to the translations. So you can see here that one of these keys isn't translated, the description. And now, without needing to use any special controls, all I need to do is change that key, and it's going to be picked up. So let's just see that in action. We want to add a key here. So this is in my cookie component, I to N. Here's my translations. And just add a description. And I'll save it. And I have the console open, and you'll see that it's detected my change. And so if I open the dialog again, or if I add the component, now the I2N key has been picked up. I didn't need to reload it anywhere. So basically, what it boils down to is any change you make on the file system is picked up now for you. You don't have to worry about it. It just works. And there is one last improvement that I wanted to mention. I'll make the change while you can see the console, because the console is a really nice way to see that the system has picked up the changes that you've made. If I make a change, I just saved the change, and the console is going to tell me when the system has reloaded those IE10N files. So you saw it took about, 6 seconds. It's basically polling. It can take up to 10 seconds, but we've made another improvement. It's kind of an experimental feature, so it's not on by default. You have to configure it. We just saw how long the reloading takes, so I'm not going to actually do that live for you, but it's quite nice. Basically, in the properties file, we have a new item, which again is not there by default, but it's the Magnolia Resources Watcher sensitivity, and you can set it to high. And when that sensitivity is on high, any change you make, you'll see it reflected in the console in like 1 second or 2 seconds. So it's super fast, which is really nice for developer experience. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to show you for 5.4.7. Obviously, there's many other bug fixes and improvements. Check out the release notes, but that's what we wanted to show you today.